afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and I bring you guys my Mathmech deck profile for 2022. Now, I think this is one of the best rogue decks or top tier decks in the format, and I can't wait to guys show you my deck profile. First things first, I just want to say thank you all for 100 subscribers, and yeah, this is one of those decks I've been building for a while. I'm so happy that Circular is one of the most broken cards in Power the Elements to give this deck new life, and Mathmechs are finally in the meta, which is really cool. There's two builds of it I'm going to show on the channel. It's this build right now, and then sometime this week it's going to be the Agnister one, which I think has more potential just due to the fact that Towers by itself, the big guy who's unaffected by monster effects or card effects, is just so hard to out because no one's main decking the Goddess Girl or side decking it or in the extra deck period. That it's just a free win con against like Splight against or tier. You don't have an out to it. So I'll show you that one in a couple of days once I have all the cards for it. But for now, here is the Mathmech deck profile. So first things first, we play our 3-cylinder boy. How all the Mathmechs work is that they're all based on like mathematics. So get used to that. Funny enough, they're not that complicated of a deck. Mathmech Circular basically says you send one Mathmech, except Mathmech Circular from your deck to grave, special summon this guy from hand, which is cost, which is really amazing because the fact that he just sends from deck from grave to special summon himself is just a really strong effect. And then basically has the effect where when this card is normal summon, or not normal summon, basically if a Mathmech monster is normal summon because you haven't used a normal and you have one monster on the field, you can just reborn a card. Or no, you add a spell. My apologies. I'm misremembering these guys' effects. So he adds one of the spells and traps for your deck to hand, which is great. Really strong card. A definite 3 of. He's the main soul of the deck. He's the reason why this deck is now actually really strong in the meta. I can't wait to show you more. Next, we are playing 3 Mathmech Sigma. I've seen some people play this to 2. I think 3 is fine, especially if you're a more budget player and you don't have enough money for the hand traps. Sigma is just a really strong card. If you control no cards in your extra monster zone while this card's in your hand or grave, you can special summon it but banish it when it leaves the field, which is fine because if you use it as XYZ material, it does not banish itself, so it just goes back to grave. And you can keep doing that effect, which is really strong. And he also has the effect where basically he does kind of lock you into Cyberse monsters, which is fine because that's literally the whole deck. And it can only be used as synchro for Mathmech monsters. And he's treated as a non-tuner, which is weird. So he basically has a tuning effect, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that he comes in grave. You can send him off Circular, reborn him, free rank 4. Really strong. Definite 3 of because we are playing Desires and we don't want to banish them. Next, we play 3 Subtraction. Subtraction is amazing. Subtraction says, hey, your opponent controls a monster. Target one card on it. Oh, it doesn't have to target. It's good going first or second because it could be your opponent or your monsters. But if you're going second, because your opponent, let's say, won a die roll, you target their monsters and basically special summon this guy onto the field. And it has a couple effects. Once it targets one face of monster, it can special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Cyber, which is fine. Also, that monster loses 1,000 attack, which is really strong. So they have a board. You do this guy onto that monster loses 1,000 attack, and this is a free material. Really strong effect. Next, we play 3 Addition. Addition is another really great Mathmech card. Addition is another way to freely summon them onto the field. You can target one face-up monster on the field. It can't be special summoned for the rest of the turn. Except Cyber, which is fine. Also, when he targets a monster, it gains 1,000 attack, which is really good. So he subtracts 1,000, he adds 1,000. And they're just free extenders, which is really strong. Our last of our 3 of Mathmechs are 3 Diameter. The reason why I haven't made a deck profile on this is because this guy is so hard to find as a common card. It literally just got my playsets yesterday. He's like $1, but he only came out on 1 set. And he's just really hard to find. But this guy is amazing. Basically, when he's used as material, so he's your normal summon, that XYZ is can negate a card. And I believe that Synchro can too. So right here, this dot part, that's the part that matters. So once a turn, during a turn, this card was special summoned. When your opponent activates the effect, you can negate the effect. So whatever monster was used with this, make it as material, it gains the effect where it can negate a card, which is really strong. It also has the effect when this card is normal summoned, you target one level 4 or lower cybers and reborn it basically, which is really, really good. So you can do Cylinder, send Sigma. Sigma revives itself, XYZ, search diameter or have diameter in hand, normal summon diameter. You already detached this, so I'll be reborn off that and just keep going from there. Really, really strong card. And let's see, let's put this back. Let's put you back. Now, these two you don't usually play in Mathmech. I just have them in for like flex spots, which is Multiplication and Nabla. You don't really play these. Multiplication basically says the monster uses him, attacks twice, so he helps you. Oh wait, no, it doubles his attack. My apologies. And then this guy, when he uses material, he's attacked twice, which is really cool. You don't really play these two in the most builds. They've been cut because this really isn't an OTK deck anymore. It's more like a buildable deck. But I had 2 flex spots, and I felt like these could be hand traps, but I wanted to try them out. Nabla's cool, and Multiplication's cool. Double attack, 2 attacks. It's just a really, really strong effect. Finally, we play 3 Micro Kotaru because this guy's amazing. Basically, you're allowed to link summon using him as material from your hand, which is great. And then when he uses material, he searches a Cyber spell a trap, which in this case would be Cyber's the counter trap, which is really, really strong. A lot of Sal players have been playing it, and it's just a really good Cyber support card. It's a free link extension, and it doesn't have to require normal, and it's just a really, really strong card. And then finally, for our last Cyber sponsor, our last Cyber sponsor is 3 Parallax C. This card's amazing. We all know it does. Basically, hey, you summon a Link monster, special summon this to his Link cells, special summon another one from deck. The street is a level 4. Free rank 4, free Link fodder. Really great card. One of the best Cyber support cards ever. And that is it for the Cyber sponsors. Now it's time for the hand traps. Parallax C, I do want to mention that he is also a, what's it called, a small world target. So that's why we're putting the 3rd Parallax. I see some people put him to 2. I do want to mention that he is a small world target to get into Circular, who is the main dad of his deck. So that is why we're playing the 3 Parallax C. Now it's time for our hand traps, where we play 3 Effect Veiler and 3 Ghost Ogre. So another reason why we're playing these guys is because they're small world targets. Small world is a very complicated card, which took me like 3 times to read it to finally figure it out. But basically what Small World says is that, hey, you reveal 1 monster in hand, you banish it. You banish 1 card in your deck with something similar to it, and then you special summon 1 from that. So basically what I'm saying is that you have to share 1 thing and be different in every other way. Let me show you an example. The example this is actually how you explain the Small World Bridge. So basically how Small World works is that, hey, you want to get to Mathmech Circular, right? That's the guy we want to get to. This is the man himself. So we have Sigma in hand. We have our 3rd copy of Sigma. We don't need Sigma in hand. Thus, what are we going to do? We're going to activate Small World. We're going to banish the Sigma in hand. We're going to banish the Ghost Ogre from deck to get to the Mathmech Circular. And the reason why this works is they share everything except everything else. So what I mean by that is Sigma is a Cyber's tuner. Well, the tuner part does not matter. It's just a Cyber's light, level 4, 1,000 attack, 1,500 defense, which is a lot like Circular here. But also, the only thing they share is that they're lights. So the reason why this works is because they have different defenses, they have different attacks, they're different types, and they're different levels. So that's when this works. The Small World Bridge to get into Circular. These two don't need a match. All it needs a match is that they have 1 thing in common and everything else is different. And basically that's how Small World works. That's why we're playing the Ghost Ogre, and that's why we're playing Effect Veiler. There's an argument to playing Ash and Droll and all those other cards and DD Crows, but these are just Small World targets, and we really want to go into Circular. He's our main man himself. We really need to go into him, and yeah. That is it for the monsters. We have Small World here, so let's time to go into the spells and traps. Next we play 3 Silent Mining, because Silent Mining's cracked. Basically, just pitch a Cybers or pitch any card at a Cybers. Whatever you need is what you get. Really, really strong card. 2 Desires, because Desires is nuts. We play so many 3-0s that we can play Desires. 1 Call by the Grave, because Call by is Call by. 1 Mathmech Edition. It's a searchable card. It's also a Reborn card, so that's really good. And then finally, we play 1 Super Factorial and 1 Sonic Conflict as our 2 trap cards. Basically, it can be searched off the microcoder, but it says if you control a Link 3 or higher, you just Solemn Judgment the cards, which is great. And then this card basically says, hey, let me spell. It's like the Revolt of Cybers decks, where you spell something out of 3 Cybers from Grave, and then just XYZ, which is really, really strong. I believe you can synchro too, but we only use the XYZ effect. So this basically go for an XYZ play, and then we just pop off from there. It's really, really strong. And that is it for the main deck. Now it's time for the side deck.
Now it's time for the extra deck. First things first, we play 1 Geo Mathmech Final Sigma. I've seen some people cut these out of his list and then play it at 0, which I think is ridiculous. This guy's amazing. He's a Synchro 12, and he's unaffected by card effects as long as he's in the EMZ. And he does double damage when he attacks a monster, which is incredible. Also, if this guy ever gets killed, basically you add 1 Mathmech card from your deck to hand. And this guy is just amazing. He is really, really strong. The fact that he does double damage, the fact that he's immune by card effects is ridiculous. You can make him really, really big and go for a game quite easily with this guy. Now, there is an argument to saying, well, we already have the access code. Why would you need Final Sigma? And you're like, yes, you already do have access code. Well, sometimes it's easier to make this guy an access code. And you're probably thinking, access code just needs 2 cards to do an access code play. And you're right. I just really like this card. It comes up. It's really annoying. He's the big man himself. There is 1 card I did have to cut for him. If you probably want to, you can probably just play Heatzel in the deck. But none of the combos really went into Heatzel that much. So that's why I felt like there was space for 1 Sigma. If you want, you can take the Sigma out and put a Heatzel in. But that's my opinion on that one. Next, the main card that makes the extra deck wild is Prime Mathmech Alan Burshid. Now, this guy is amazing. He has a couple effects. He was always the broken Mathmech card. Before Mathmechs are even in the meta, everyone was trying to put this in their extra deck to get his 4th effect off. And he has a couple effects which are insane. So basically, you could tribute 1 monster, especially 1 level 4 or lower Mathmech monster from your deck to grave, from your hand or graveyard. If this XYZ is summoned, so on summon, you can detach up to 2 to 4 materials from this card, activate the effects. So basically it's saying you can activate 2, 3, or 4 effects. If you detach 2, you add 1 Mathmech card from your deck to your hand, which is the minimum. If you detach 3, you add 1 level 4 from your deck to your hand. And if you detach 4, you add 1 spell from your deck to your hand. We're always going for the second effect. It's the minimum cost, just so we can add cards. And if we have Mathmech Diameter underneath him as material, basically it allows us to also have a negate for that turn. Because on summon it allows us to negate. So they can't really ash this card. They can't really veil or imperm this card because we can just negate it with this guy, which is really, really cool. Finally, we play 1 Mathmech Lampa Line. Since some people play him at 2, there is an argument to play 2 of him and play 2 of that trap card that summons him. But I think 1 is fine. I think you're only ever going to go into 1 of them. The idea is that you Trish your opponent because he's basically like Trish, but he bounces cards. And then you kill him with Access Code or Mathmech Final Sigma on the next turn. And basically what this guy says is that he needs 3 level 4 monsters. If they're Mathmechs, you control the can't be destroyed by card effects. So they can't be destroyed by card effects if he has Mathmechs underneath him. And then you can detach 1 material from this card instead. If this card is XYZ summon, you can detach up to 3 materials, and then you get to choose their effects. First effect, you send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to grave. You send 1 monster from your opponent's field, I believe, to grave. And then you send one spell or trap your opponent controls to grave, which is really, really strong. So he's basically like a Trish for this archetype. It's a very powerful effect. You summon them on your opponent's turn with a 4-mana Appaloosa and a whole bunch of other interruptions, and you just say, I win the game. Next, we play Appaloosa. Appaloosa is amazing. IP Masquerade, Special Summon Appaloosa, is a very powerful card this format. I'm surprised the tier decks aren't playing Appaloosa, to be honest. This card is just so powerful. The fact that you could just go, hey, I summoned this on my opponent's turn, they have 4 negates now. Deal with it. It's just quite strong. People say it fell out of the format. I think it's ridiculous. Appaloosa is too powerful to fall out any format. Next we play is the 1 Axis Code. If you don't have Axis Code, again, you can play Heat Soul, or you can play another Mathmech Final Sigma. But Axis Code's amazing. We're playing the Code Talker package, so we can make him attack twice. He gains attack to whoever he link pointed to. He untargeting removes cards, and you can't. Oh, I guess he does target cards, but you can't respond to it, so it doesn't really matter. It's like the weirdest effect. But basically, it's just like a 5,000 beat stick that says you can't fuck with me, or I'm gonna kill you. And yeah, he's really stupid. Next, we play 1 Transcode Talker. This guy's awesome good. He helps you climb into Axis Code, and he reborns to a link monster pointing to him, which is really good. Masquerade, like I said, is how we supposed to summon out our Appaloosa. Basically, the whole combo is to Appaloosa and, well, not Appaloosa, we make a Pit Eagle. And Pit Eagle says when a monster activates his effect in his pointing to him, so you have it like this, he'll negate a card on field, which is good. So the idea is that when your opponent tries to do anything, you negate with Pit Eagle, you chain IP, chain with Pit Eagle, negate, and then you go into like Appaloosa, which is really strong. And yeah, next we play the Update Jammer. As for our other Link 2. This guy's amazing. Basically, he uses link material. You allow it to attack twice. I know it's a lot of effect just to say that card, but hey, that's all that matters. Basically, when he uses link material, that monster can attack twice his turn, and it is pretty strong. Next, we play 1 Cyber's Wicked Witch. This is also essential for the combo. Basically, it's not only it's the right link arrows that allows to do the Pit Eagle and the Update Jammer, or not Update Jammer, IP combo, but also it basically has the effect where basically some of a card can be destroyed by battle card effects. Cyrus monsters that this card points to can be destroyed by card effects, which is important. If this card is special summoned to the zone it points to, except that you can banish 1 Cyrus monster in your grave to add 1 Cyrus Tuner for your deck to your hand. Does that come up? Does adding the Cyrus Tuner? I don't believe so. But we do play a Cyrus Tuner, so it is possible. And finally played the 1 Splash Mage for our Link 2. Splash Mage is basically just Axis Code, not Axis Code, Transcode, but smaller. You just post them in the Cybers from your grave, which is great. And then we also played, for our Link 1s, we played 1 Link Deviate, 1 Link Disciple, and the Link Rebo. I'll explain these two together because they work together. Basically, Link Disciple and this guy, you want to summon to their zones like this. Like that. And basically, you want to tribute Deviati to draw 1. And then the Deviati, when he's tributed, summons out 2 tokens, which helps you link climb even further, which is a really cool engine. And then Link Karibo is literally just a trap negate, which is really strong because this deck does not really have a good outfit traps besides Untowers over here. So yeah, I think it's just a really good card in general. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. See you all on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.